Anyways, guys, I'm going to talk about fogging the supercharger today on a 300 or a 310 with the Eaton supercharger. First of all, here's your location. Here's your fogging port. You take the cap off. You put your fogging oil in there. See how I do it? Start the engine, don't rev it. Spray for, I do 4 or 5 seconds. I'm only in fresh water, so I'm doing it every 4 or 5 rides now, because I was blasting it with fogging oil for 8-10 seconds, and I could hear the motor choking a bit, and I'm sure I was fouling plugs, because the next time I would go out, the ski would be bucking and surging and all kinds of stuff, and it was just really starting to irritate me, and I'm in fresh water, and so that's up to you. And do get proper fogging oil. I'm not sure if this XPS by Sea-Doo, it's the only thing I can get in Thailand that I've found so far, is proper fogging oil. I'm not sure. Get something that says fogging oil. Ideally, I would get Kawasaki brand, then you know what you're getting. So anyways, here's your fogging port, right? I don't spray it in there because I find sometimes the oil sprays back and I don't know why it starts spraying all over this area in my hand. So what I do is, here's your line. This is where the oil is going. It's going that way. You're spraying in here. It's going that way. And it's going to your supercharger. And there's the line going into your supercharger. Right there. Let's see if I can get in position here. So the oil's traveling down in that direction. And I'll show you something. You see this line? It just pulls out. So the oil's coming out of the end of that line, going into your supercharger. What I do, it's a personal choice. I take the line out, I put my can of oil in, I put the plastic end in about 1 inch, start the engine, I spray directly in here, 4 or 5 seconds. Then I put this line back in. Up to you. Then I know nothing's getting sprayed back, it's all going in directly. After each ride, I have a quick look at that line to make sure it hasn't popped out, because I know they have done in the past for some guys. Again, that's up to you. So that's your line there. The other thing I do, because I spray directly in the supercharger, I put a mark on it. That's as far as I insert it. And I epoxy the, see if I can get a shot here. I epoxy the red plastic into the cap of the fogging oil so I don't end up losing the red plastic hose line down into the supercharger. So, and yes, I've already stuck a screwdriver part way down with the engine off to make sure I'm not going to hit anything when I'm fogging. So, okay, so that's up to you. If you're riding in salt water, I would fog each and every time, but that's your call. I'm in fresh water, and this is my theory. Okay, so it's the last thing I do. I spray 4 or 5 seconds. I don't rev the engine. I shut it off. What I do though, I come back the next day, I start my engine, I run my engine for 7-8 seconds, I don't rev it, and the reason I come out the next day, to make sure the supercharger, the lobes are not rusting together, there's no particles on them, they're moving freely, but more, especially if you're riding in salt water, and just to make sure it's spinning freely. Also, for your info, I have no belt cover on my supercharger belt. I took the belt cover off, then I can see what's going on in there. I can clean that area, especially if you're in salt water again. So I take that belt cover off right away. But the reason I start it the next day as well is to dry out this whole exhaust system. 7-8 seconds, just at idle. I know we have an exhaust filter. It's supposed to stop moisture from traveling back up into the head, rusting the valves, plugs, but I just start at 7-8 seconds, dry the whole exhaust system out. There's no moisture left in my head and all that. Do not rev it, only run at 7-8 seconds, but that's up to you. And just to make sure the supercharger's not rusting up and binding, and it's not anyways, but just as a precaution. Dries out the top end of the engine. Make sure there's no moisture in the supercharger lobes, nothing's rusting together or seizing or freezing together, however you want to say it. So anyways, hope that helps.